Disney's Snow White remake is on track to lose
with the left and violence. They cannot help themselves.
So the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Precedent. But there are some things that you can't undo, like multi-million-dollar movies.
Picture this. You're a leading actress in one of Disney's most expensive productions ever. The film cost a staggering $370 million to make and market. The premiere was glamorous, the press junkets were done, and now you're visiting a local theater to see your movie with friends. But when you arrive, something's terribly wrong. The theater is practically empty. That's exactly what happened to Rachel Zegler. In what has to be one of the most awkward moments in recent Hollywood history, Zegler was filmed watching her own movie in a nearly vacant theater. Her friends tried to create excitement, cheering when her name appeared on screen, but the empty seats around them told the real story. Why is this moment so significant? Because just months earlier, Zegler had confidently declared, "At every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see." Talk about words coming back to haunt you. I couldn't believe the contrast when I saw the footage, from bold proclamation to silent embarrassment in less than a year. But wait, there's more to this story than just an embarrassing theater visit. The numbers behind this flop are genuinely shocking. Box office bloodbath, when numbers tell the brutal truth. Let me break down just how badly Snow White has performed, because the numbers are staggering. After an underwhelming $43 million opening weekend, things went from bad to worse. The second weekend saw a brutal 66% decline in ticket sales, bringing in just $14.2 million and falling to second place behind Jason Statham's A Working Man, a film playing in thousands fewer theaters. As of late March 2025, Snow White had grossed approximately $66.9 million domestically and $75.8 million internationally, totaling around $142.8 million worldwide. That might sound decent until you remember the film's enormous budget. Here's where things get really grim. Industry analysts now project the film will lose nearly $300 million from its theatrical run, even after accounting for home entertainment, Disney plus streaming, and other ancillaries. Disney is still looking at a loss of around $115 million. For context, this makes Snow White one of Disney's biggest box office disasters in recent memory. I've been covering the film industry for years, and let me tell you, numbers like these send shockwaves through Hollywood. Studios don't just shrug off $300 million losses. People lose jobs, careers get derailed, and strategies get completely rethought. But how did we get here? What transformed Disney's beloved classic into such a colossal failure? That's where our story takes an even more fascinating turn. The controversial road to ruin. You might be wondering, did anyone see this coming? The truth is, Snow White has been surrounded by controversy from the very beginning, and Rachel Zegler found herself at the center of most of it. It started with her casting. As an actress of Colombian descent, playing the character famously described as having skin as white as snow, Zegler faced immediate backlash from certain segments of the audience. But that initial controversy was just the tip of the iceberg. What really ignited the firestorm were Zegler's comments about the original 1937 film. In interviews, she called the classic weird and criticized its romance, saying it had a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. She also described the original as dated in terms of how it represented women in power. I remember watching those interviews in real time and thinking, this is a bold strategy for promoting your movie. Talking critically about a beloved classic while trying to sell audiences on your remake is risky business. And in this case, it backfired spectacularly. But the controversies didn't stop there. Zegler also reportedly told entire political groups not to watch the film and posted politically charged messages on social media. After the November 2024 elections, she posted a "Fuck you, Donald Trump," and later expressed regret for letting her emotions get the best of her. Perhaps most damaging was the alleged tension between Zegler and co-star Gal Gadot. According to reports, after Zegler posted "Free Palestine" on social media, Gadot, who is from Israel, received death threats so serious that Disney had to increase her security. The situation apparently became so concerning that producer Mark Blatt personally flew to New York to confront Zegler about her posts. As someone who has watched many Hollywood PR disasters unfold, this was unprecedented. Disney reportedly brought in a special social media guru to manage Zegler's posts, but by by then, significant damage had already been done. You might be thinking all this sounds like typical Hollywood drama, but trust me, what happened next shows just how serious the situation became. The fallout when Hollywood turns its back. Here's where the story gets really interesting. According to industry insiders, Rachel Zegler has started feeling the cold shoulder from Hollywood. She was allegedly set to voice a character in Toy Story 5 Cut, rumored to star in the new Pirates of the Caribbean, Gone, a horror trilogy with Blumhouse, not anymore. The message being sent is clear. When you mix controversial statements with box office failure, studios get nervous, very nervous. What makes this particularly painful for Zegler is that Snow White was supposed to be her big Disney princess moment, the role that would cement her status as Hollywood's newest star. Instead, it's become her fourth box office disappointment in a row. Let's look at her track record. West Side Story, 2021, $76 million worldwide. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, 2023, $134 million worldwide. Y2K, 2024, $4.4 million. Snow White, 2025, $142.8 million and counting, but against a massive budget. Only The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes performed well, grossing $349 million worldwide. That's one hit out of 5 films. I've seen careers recover from 1 or 2 flops, but 4 consecutive disappointments, with the latest being one of the biggest money losers in Disney history. That's the kind of pattern that makes executives nervous about putting your name on their next project. But here's what fascinates me about this whole situation. It's not just about the money. It's about something much deeper in our cultural moment. Beyond the flop, a perfect storm of cultural backlash. What we're witnessing with Snow White isn't just a box office failure. It's a case study in how quickly the cultural tides can turn. Disney's live-action remakes have been incredibly successful in the past. The Lion King remake made over $1 billion. So what made Snow White different? I believe it's a perfect storm of factors. First, there's genuine audience fatigue with Disney's live-action remakes. Each one feels less special than the last. Second, the changes to the story itself alienated the core audience. This wasn't just a straight remake. It removed the romance focus in favor of a leadership narrative and reimagined the Seven Dwarfs. But third, and perhaps most significantly, Zegler herself became the focal point for a broader cultural backlash. In a deeply divided America, her political statements and criticism of the original film made Snow White a lightning rod for the ongoing culture wars. The result? Review bombing so severe that IMDb had to issue a disclaimer warning of unusual voting activity on the film's page, which at one point had a user rating as low as 1.5 out of 10. This brings us to the most important question of all. Can Rachel Zegler recover from this? As I've watched this situation unfold, the question that keeps coming to mind is this the end for Rachel Zegler's career as a leading actress, or can she bounce back? Hollywood loves a comeback story, but they also have a notoriously short memory when it comes to box office bombs. For every Robert Downey Jr. who rises from career ashes, there are dozens of once promising stars who quietly fade away after a series of disappointments. The challenge for Zegler isn't just recovering from Snow White's failure, it's rebuilding her relationship with audiences. The perception that she disrespected a beloved classic and alienated potential viewers with political statements has created a hurdle that goes beyond typical box office disappointment. I believe her next moves will be crucial. She'll need a project that plays to her strengths. Her singing voice is genuinely exceptional while avoiding the controversy that has followed Snow White. And most importantly, she'll need to rebuild trust with studio executives who are now questioning her bankability. What this means for Disney's future. Let's not forget the other player in this drama, Disney itself. The studio is facing serious questions about its strategy with these live-action remakes. With losses potentially reaching $300 million, Snow White represents a significant financial blow. But more importantly, it signals that the formula that worked for Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King may be running out of steam. Disney now faces a crucial decision point: continue with their remake strategy, or pivot to focus more on original content. The stakes couldn't be higher as the studio is still recovering from post-pandemic challenges and streaming wars. So what do you think? Can Rachel Zegler recover from this disaster? Is this the beginning of the end for Disney's live-action remakes? Or is this all just a temporary stumble that will be forgotten when the next big hit comes along? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this analysis interesting, hit that subscribe button and the notification notification bell so you don't miss my next upload. Until next time, remember that in Hollywood, fairy tales rarely end with happily ever after. But sometimes, the most interesting stories come after the credits roll.